During the vernal night, a rising tailwind snuck out of the southwest. We navigated by the stars and flew north by the broken light of low clouds and a full moon. We sent scouts ahead to what they called Stoney Point. They performed low sweeps, and with their magnetic sensors, the scouts spotted a circular radar dish with its metallic protuberance and nets hidden, hanging in the dark air among the fraying bulrushes on the remote military base. There were hundreds of us from different groups, flying at different elevations. We were tired and needed to rest. But these days, there were fewer and fewer areas large enough to rest safely, and water supplies had been poisoned with pesticides. Pristine was a dead word they still used, while our numbers continued to dwindle. A green neon light flashed intermittently in the curtained windows of a wilderness research trailer, which was parked alone on the point. A large sonar radar beam rotated quietly above the trailer on a web of steel scaffolding. One group of scouts saw a researcher inside pointing at green concentric circles glowing on the radar screen. She was writing down numbers, our numbers, while she dreamed, no doubt, of bigger research projects once she acquired her doctorate. The military funded her work because they were interested in us. We were not sure why, but we imagined that it had something to do with a conflict over airspace. They wanted to control that territory, our territory, for we had been flying in this area for years. The researcher probably thought it was a win-win situation. For them, perhaps. We were not consulted. Their technology had become sophisticated not only to detect our minute flight patterns, but also our communications. Still, our radar voices did not sound like us. They were distorted and reverberated like the drone of military aircraft before taking flight. We decided to think like the military. It had become a matter of survival. As we circled around the point, we decided to land in groups in different areas, among the tall blades of grass, in the marshes, near the choke cherries, and on the littered beach where we would take turns replenishing our food and water supplies. We knew that we could evade the radar once we got below 100 feet. Most of us had landed on the narrow strip of land by the time the first military patrol vehicle arrived at the research station. The air stunk of dead fish and gasoline. Some of us were nervous and cried while a few of our members struggled in the mercenary nets. We tried to calm them with our hushed voices as another military vehicle arrived at the trailer. Several men stood outside laughing. They were drinking wine in cups. Some of the members trapped in the net struggled harder when they heard the laughter and then passed out. This outraged about 100 members resting in the nearby grasses, so I gave the signal to attack the research station. No one hesitated. We assembled in a close-knit flying pattern, V formation, and flew in unison toward the research station. As I mimicked the cry of a raven, the others simultaneously turned their intrinsic magnetic sensors from receive to transmit as the neon green light within the trailer flashed. Our myriad voices rose in a cacophony of musical sound as we directed our combined magnetic fields at the circling radar beam and the stationary radar dish that looked like a bird bath. Rock bass jumped out of the fidgeting ocean, while the seals watched under cover of the rocks. Several members of the sharp-tailed sparrows, renowned for their pluckiness, let go moist black loads onto the heads of the military staff who scrambled to their vehicles. I hovered in exhilaration as the red-faced warblers zapped the military staff with such unbridled magnetic fields that all the men, including the captain and the researcher, began to hallucinate as they slumped in their truck seats. Even the researcher's pet dog, a black lab, had visions as it circled continuously around the research station, barking in a wild frenzy at an invisible feline apparition. The researcher yelled at the dog, who for one delusional moment looked like her advisor. "Dr. Jameson, you're not making sense. Is that a new research technique?" When the winged troop turned around for another flyby, all the other members of Songbirds raised their voices like a summer rock concert. Even a few great horned owls, longtime enemies, joined in with soprano hoots as the neon light died inside the research trailer. The captain's voice crackled over his handheld radio. "We've had a terrorist attack. 1033. The radar instruments are dead." 10-4. Copied. Attacked, sir. Description of terrorists. The captain cleared his voice. "They look like bloody flying dinosaurs." He disengaged the mic and slapped the dashboard. "What the hell was in that hallucinogenic homemade brew of yours, Hogan?" Sitting beside him, the lieutenant, Hogan, sucked his forefinger and muttered, "Jesus Mary." The troops of warblers, sparrows, juncos, pink finches, and I, a rather savvy sparrow, flew over to the other members who joined us in a crescendo of song and flight. As we rose higher toward the astral fields, our lyrics and the drum of our many different wings could no longer be detected nor warped by the military radar. We turned our inner magnetic sensors back to receive and bore north toward the next tiny vestige of habitable land, determined to take what mattered inside into our own Jurassic origins.